Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today I have got a great collection for the love of stamps from Hunkydory. These are fantastic stamps for like jasmine, rose, lilac, hydrangea, and pansy. Oh, I can't wait to show you what my friend Debbie did with these stamps. Beautiful cards. In fact, let's look at one right now. Look at that. She did a great job. A little masking here. We're going to go over all of that. So come back and play with us. So for this beautiful little pansy card, she used, of course, the pansy stamp, and she did a little masking technique on here. So you can see here, she stamped the entire image, then stamped it again and used foam tape to put that on there. But let's just talk about that first image stamped on the card. She used this image right here, stamped it directly on her card. But she wanted to give a little extra height on there, so she wanted to use these little buds. This is what she did. She took the stamp, stamped this one again on some scrap paper, and she cut around just that top edge. She placed that right here. Of course, this is before she foam taped anything. And then she stamped the bud here and here. Now, the reason you mask it is because you're going to be stamping. You can see the line of her stamp right there. Maybe we can zoom in, Steve. You can see where that line for that little bud is right there, and she just stamped it right there and right there. And that protects this image that's under here. Okay, so once that was all done, then she stamped this image one more time, and she cut out these little pansies right here, colored those, and then foam taped those right there. Really cute. Now, what ink did she use? Well, she used Tri-Blend markers by Spectrum Noir, and these are alcohol markers. So you want to use something that is not going to react with those and make them all muddy and sort of blend together, and it doesn't look good. So you want to use, this one is alcohol proof dye ink by Spectrum Noir, so it's real easy to pick that one out. But also Memento ink in Tuxedo Black also works great. The thing about these is that they're dye-based inks, they're water inks, okay? They're water-based. So if you got it on your hands, you could wash it off easily, where the markers are permanent, so if you got some on your hands, they wouldn't wash off. You want to use these two together so that they don't react together and blend together and be all smeary, okay? So that's how that works. I love how she cut out her little butterfly. First she stamped it once and then foam taped that on there. That is just adorable. Very sweet card and a great technique. All right, so for this one, it's the hydrangea stamp. So for this one, Debbie first stamped this little, this is a great little sentiment. It tells you all about hydrangea. So it's like a little botanical stamp. And then she stamped that multiple times on her slimline card, which is 8.5 by 3.5 inches. And then she stamped that with black ink and then used, here's my ink, here we go. And then she used water-based, let's see, this is, oh, here we go, sorry, grabbed the wrong ones. I've got so many inks. She used for the stems, pine tree ink, and then ocean blue on here, and then also crushed velvet. And Debbie said using little daubers was really, really helpful. So she actually used daubers before she cut this out. She just used the little daubers to color everything and did a daub of like the ocean blue and then the velvet and just kind of added those on there. She even used the daubers to color the stem and the leaves. And then she just used her little scissors and cut it out. So it was okay if she went outside the lines, it was fine. And then she took some little gold embossing powder and stamped these individual little hydrangea petals, so cute. And if you're not familiar with embossing, you need to use an ink that's like a translucent clear ink, and it makes it kind of sticky when you stamp it, and then you sprinkle on the powder, tap that excess off, just get off that excess so it leaves a nice outline, and then you have to heat it with a heat gun. Okay? And we've got lots of different kinds of inks, clear inks that'll work with this, and I will link all of these products down below our video at Paper Wishes in the products used. All right, so she cut out, well, she cut out those little gold embossed hydrangeas and just foam taped those on there. And this is all on an oval that was die cut from some navy cardstock. I love how that shows up. And then she used an oval cutting die as well. Beautiful. She did such a great job on that. All right, next, so much to show you guys. Let's go into the lilac card. And for the lilac stamp set, whew, there we go. For this one, I've got, this is a 5 by 6.5 inch card. Open that up, and as you can see, I cut half of it down the center. So 5 inches across. At the 2.5 inch mark, I just cut the front part of that card away. Then I went back to my oval cutting dies, all right, and die cut my, oops, here we go. Once again, loving to stamp on this. And I used my little cutting dies to die cut that large oval. Used the hydrangea paper, you guys. Ooh. Excuse me, this is not hydrangea. Did I say hydrangea? This is lilacs. Lilacs in Bloom paper pack from hot off the press. I used both the solid cardstock and the patterned. So half of my card right here has got this beautiful lilac patterned paper. I used the solid right here. And then I stamped my lilac image right here. I stamped it 3 times. Okay, once I stamped it directly to the oval, and the other 2 times I just stamped it off on another piece of paper, and then I colored them in. And what I used for that, so I used 2 shades of purple on this one. I used the purple blend and lavender blend tri-blend markers. This one I used the bright pink. You can see the kind of a pop of color in the center, and then I colored with pale pink. And then this blue one right here, the true blue is the darker part of the center, and then the ice blue, I colored the rest of that in. And then we've got a little dull green. Here we go. Here's the dull green marker, which is I think my favorite green to color in the leaves. So let's take a look at that. I think we're going to go ahead and do a little coloring. Now I stamped this, I should mention, with, here we go. This is alcohol proof, okay? And this is a nice brown. It's rustic brown, just to be a little different. Sometimes I love to use brown. So what I did with my leaves, on one side of the stem, I like to color with the darkest shade. Whoa, I should actually tell you, if you're not familiar with these pens, there are 3 pens in one. So this is the darkest shade of green. And then you've got the medium or mid. And then we've got the lightest shade. And look at that great ombre effect that you get by just switching the pins as you go. So I'm starting off with the darkest, okay, and we're just going to go kind of at the base of the leaf like that. And then I'm going to go to the mid or medium, and I'm going to color the rest of the stem in, because that's just going to blend right with that dark edge. You can zoom in a little bit more on that, Steve. And then I'm going to go ahead and color that little connecting stem there. And then I'm just going to start coloring in with my medium until I get about that point. Then I'm going to switch to the light. Just like that. And you'll notice that it's not reacting with that brown ink because it's alcohol proof. It's water-based, so it is saying that is just fine, not blending together. All right, and then with the little lilac part, we're going to take, let's do the lavender and the purple. So what I would do is, for this one, take the darkest shade of the purple, and I just kind of made a little X in the center, just like that. And then I went to the lavender and just added a little bit like that. And then on the edges of these, just did a little darker there. And then I forgot to grab the other pen, which is a little more pink. Okay, so for the other colors, I've got sort of that hydrangea color. Here we go. Where's the hydrangea color, Lene? I had it. Hydrangea, where are you? Here it is. All right. That color. that color, and then here's the purple. There's that color. And then I have a nice lighter shade too. I think it was this one. You ever just like forget the colors that you used? And I used those colors to color that in. And for the blue, we've got a little darker color at the center, and then this nice medium right there to color in the rest of it. And then for the lighter pink one's right here, use this really, really bright pink, and then a little bit of pale pink in the darkest shade. All right. And then, yeah, my cutaway, I just glued my oval right here. And this one, I just cut into a little rectangle, stamped the little lilac. It says, due to their intoxicating fragrance, lilacs are used in aromatherapy to create relaxation and blah, blah, blah. So I stamped that right there with a border at the top and the bottom, and then a little time to relax and unwind. And then there's little clusters here. I stamped and cut those out. Oh. All right, so we can zoom out a little bit, Steve. All right, here's another one from Debbie. I love this one. Gotta clean up around here. Here we go. So for this one, Debbie made this cutaway card that is so cool. So she first used, this is a new paper pack for us. This is the Window View 12 by 12 pattern cardstock, and it's got this great wood texture. It even has these windows on here. Debbie didn't use the windows, she used the wood texture. She also used the solid cardstock. And she took her 6.5 by 5 inch card, and then she cut right here, she cut from the inch from the top, she went ahead and cut 2 inches right here from the center of her card, and then went ahead and took some of that wood paper right here and just left that 2 inch space free. And then when she took her little rectangle here and she stamped her image, which I should show you here, her jasmine image, she stamped that using Thundercloud, the Prism ink pad, and it is also water-based. Okay, it's a dye ink. And so she stamped that, and because it's that type of ink, she was able to then color it in. She colored her stems in with light green, okay, and then this one's light yellow at the center. So pretty. And then did a little rectangle there with that stamped information about the jasmine. So yeah, let's look at it from this side. So this piece right here is the connector. Very cool. I love how she did that. And I've got one last card for you here, and this is the rose. And for this one, I'm going to do a little watercolor painting on this one. So we have watercolor cards. Okay, the entire card is watercolor, which is great because it lets you have a lot of fun on those. So we're going to take that and going to grab my craft mat. We can zoom out a little bit, Steve, just a tiny bit. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use, for my background, I'm going to go ahead and use water reactive dye ink. All right, and I'm going to use some blender brushes right here. And I'm going to go ahead and use Lagoon, and I'm just going to roughly go around like this. I'm not going to try not to overlap with my rose here, but it's okay if I do because I'm going to be coloring my stems green, and I don't have to worry about, you know, coloring over those because, ooh, too much ink there. And it's okay too if we have blotchiness because this is a water reactive ink. It is wonderful to mix with water. So when we're all done, even though this card is kind of blotchy, I'm going to go ahead and spray it with water, and it's going to take care of all those big splotches. All right, now we're going to clean this off. Okay, so what did I stamp this with? So we want to use a waterproof ink with this one. So this one, also finessed by Spectrum Noir, this one is waterproof. Okay, I love that it's just straight out there. They didn't give it a cutesy name. They're just telling you what it does. Oh, this one is Midnight. And we're going to add just a little darker blue. Just like that. And then this side right here, I went ahead and I took the little informative piece right here about roses and I stamped it just all the way down, just one stamp at a time, and repositioned that all the way down. So here we're going to take that and we are going to use Midnight all the way down that. All right. I always like to clean off my blender brushes so you don't accidentally transfer the wrong color in the wrong area. All right. So now we're going to use a water brush. Okay, all of these tools available, Paper Wishes, and we're going to color our rose with a little purple and our stems with a little pine tree. And what I like to do with that is just smudge a little bit of that on there. And because there's water in this water brush, I can just squeeze my water brush and get a little water there. I have a feeling I'm going to need more purple ink than that. There we go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start painting. And I am not a watercolor artist. No way. But I get by, you know. I try to get better, and until I get better, I get by. And more importantly, I enjoy it. And when I send my cards to my friends that are watercolors, they don't seem to mind if they're not professional, perfect looking. I would really encourage you to get a water brush. They're great for beginners. And try it out. So I'm doing darker around the edges, like the inside of the petals. Ones that overlap. Okay, and then I'm going to use more water and just go over the entire thing. There we go. And in my limited experience, that is a nice way to quickly accomplish a rose that has some color differences. Like that. All right. Now you just kind of wipe that off. Oh, I forgot the butterfly. Color that. Color the butterfly. And I'm just going to do little bits of it in purple. All right, and then I'm going to go back to that Midnight. I'm just going to put them right from the pad on there because I want it to be really dark. Let me zoom in a little bit, Steve. Go. That's pretty good. We're going to wipe that off. Now we're going to do, this is pine tree for the leaves, and I'm going to do directly onto the surface there because I want this to be a little darker. And then the darkest part towards the base of the leaf. And just think of these water-based ink pads as sort of your palette. And then we're going to go dark on the center there. And then we're going to do a little bit lighter. And you can see this is where I like overlapped in that blue. And it just doesn't make a difference when you're using you're using greens and blues and things like that, I find that they just sort of blend in together. Very like user friendly. All right, missed a spot right. All right, clean off your brush, put that away. There we go. All right, and then, so that's pretty much how that's gonna look. And then we're gonna take a little water in a little mister here, just clear water. And we're just gonna spray. And then you can even just take some on your hand for big drops, go like this. And I like the big drops because I really wanna see those splatters. Go. All right, we're gonna let that dry for a sec because I have one last little thing to add. All right, and the last thing I'm gonna add is, where'd they go? I have some border dies here. Okay, so I have a border die that I've already cut. I'm gonna link them down below. They've disappeared on my desk, you guys. We have these border cutting dies that make these great little scallops, and they're really great. I'll link them down below so you can actually see what they look like. Normally I would wait till this dries completely, but I cut one of these for little glitter cardstock. And I think this is like a turquoise aqua color. And I'm just gonna glue that right there so that there's a nice kind of a border and sort of a finished edge between these two things right here, all right? And as I said, normally I would let this dry for about 15 minutes, but we're gonna save a little time. We're gonna put a little bit of glue. I'm using Cosmic Shimmer Specialist Acrylic Glue. And when I film, I just like to keep a paper clip in it so that it doesn't get clogged under these warm lights. We're just gonna put that right on that edge. I got that straight. And then we're just gonna turn it over. Oh, there's my notes. We're just gonna turn that over and use our little scissors and just trim that even, just like that. And there we have it, our finished card. You guys can make a watercolor card along with me anytime. All right, so let's zoom out, Steve, and we'll tell them all about the Money Saver, which is on the right-hand side of your screen if you're watching us on our Paper Wishes webisode page. And it's a great deal on this whole collection of stamps. I love that. So you guys, lots to do with them. And if you're watching us on YouTube, then just look below the video down there in the description box. And there's a link that'll take you to the Paper Wishes webisode page where you can see all of these items, all the tools and products, and also the Money Saver. Definitely check that out. I don't think these are going to last long. They're such great stamps. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.